What is up, everybody? This is Blue Node, and I'm your host, Blue Toshi. I don't think I've ever even said that on the show. I think I always forget to do that part. But we've got a great show today. With me today is, as you recognize, obviously, Gerard from Vivid Gallery. Welcome, Gerard, to the show.
Hey, guys.
And our special guest.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. There's a delay, so I'll just let you talk. Go ahead, Gerard.
Oh. No, I just wanted to say thank you again. I'm here every week, so now it's becoming, a good thing to do every week. Just meet up here again. Nice to meet.
Yeah, man. Have you been? Has it been every week this year? You're probably right.
Almost. We will make it that way.
Got it. Well, and this is the first time that three of us have sat at this table at the Blue Node to see everything in the background, because Shaderism did his green screen as well. For those on Macs, Gerard told me all you have to do is in the camera settings, if it's from your MacBook or Apple screen, just put the green screen on and then I can get you out. So it looks awesome. Shaderism, welcome to the show. I love your stuff. I love Looming Emotion. I know before that you were on Ethereum. So you've been a generative artist in this space, a talented one at that, for quite some time now. But welcome to the show for the first time. I can't wait to dig in with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very cool to be here. This kind of experience, also like sitting in all of us screening and like seeing everyone in the same space. It's wild. Yeah,
what I love most about this show is it almost creates, obviously none of us are near each other right now. You two are going to see each other in Paris, which sounds so exciting. I wish I could go this year, because Vivid's got a huge booth this year. Is that with On-Chain Monkeys or next On-Chain Monkeys? But you got a huge booth.
We're going to be next one.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. So please take pictures. Obviously, I'm sure Shaderism's arc is going to be all over it, and Phenomena and Eternal Tides, which was the first one I asked about. And you might even see one of Blue Toshi's PFPs, apparently. So Gerard, thank you for that. Well, let's dig into it, guys, because I know you've got another interview with Stephen Morse, so we'll call this like the intro. But when we do video, Shaderism, I think you'll see like it's so much fun to go through, because we can actually show whatever you want to show, minus those stapler effects in the background there. But we can do show and go anywhere. So you just tell me kind of where to go. But as we kick off, when did you get into crypto, and when did you get into generative art?
Crypto, I've been kind of dabbling like before, like all of NFT craziness, kind of dabbling in and out. But like I really got into crypto or Web3 kind of communities and so on in 2021, following I guess starting from like seeing art blocks and understanding like what kind of cool things are happening there. And then I actually got my start on Tezos first, on early Get Nang days, and then on FX Hash, before then kind of exploring Ethereum, before now last year or year and a half kind of looking into Ordinals as well. But kind of adding into that like generative art, that's been, I'd almost say that it's been my career for like 15 years, because I was doing visual effects and WebGL development as a full-time career before kind of getting into this part of Web3.
Nice. So that was like commercial work you did for like advertising and stuff like that. It seems like there's a pattern, Gerard. Like some of my favorite and best artists like Shaderism do come from that commercial background, or at least kind of cut their teeth in part of that, which I think is cool. Like a lot of people are like, oh, an artist has to be pure and away from commercial, but it's like, no, you also got to make a living, and you also get access, as a lot of this stuff evolved, you get access arguably to the best tools, the fastest computers. Now we can all have that at our desktop, but before, you kind of needed access to learn from others. So I think that's super, super cool that you started there. What was your first Ethereum drop?
I've done only two on Ethereum this far, and the first one was actually Artbox curated, something like a year and a couple of months ago. That and the name of that was Blind Spots.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the last curated collections before the switch, right? Maybe. Well,
Yeah, I think they had like maybe two or three more after that, but pretty much one of the last ones.
yeah, that's when we discovered Shaderism with his very unique style, playing with shaders with name, and that's cool because we don't see a lot of artists playing with that, even if there is a huge potential. And I think that comes along with your background, working on this for commercials. You have a very very strong technical background, and we can see that from the
Yeah,
beginning.
it takes a lot of time to learn all of, and like there has been a lot of interest in shaders from a lot of generative artists, but it takes time. And like I've even if I let's say in visual effects I didn't like code shaders, and that kind of came later on when I started to do WebGL development. But even in visual effects, you kind of learn the language of shaders, even if you don't like type it, right? So you understand like what's
Mhm.
possible and how to do things. So then when I start doing generative arts on Web3, I've already kind of learned all the things that I can like start using my brushes rather than learning like while doing it.
Yeah, I love your use of color in here. I'm just kind of scrolling through back to was sound
And you
therapy.
can so that's like a stack. That's like a stack of images. You can also click on the kind of to rotate the next piece that you can kind of see the just the variety in that specific algorithm.
Yeah, that's cool. So was sound therapy your first art collection on Ethereum?
Or first one on FX Hash, which is on Tezos,
Oh,
and
this was okay. So you started
that's
on
yeah,
Tezos. What's
yeah.
your just out of curiosity? What's your opinion on Tezos? Are you like we know Stephen Miller's opinion on Tezos, but like have all the good artists or the ones who really want to hone their craft left Tezos? Because it seemed to me like the big narrative like a couple of years ago was like that's where all the like true artists. It was almost like Ethereum got all the attention, but Tezos, I always heard a lot of great artists were on there, but it seems like that has changed. Do you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, definitely. Like many have left, maybe not permanently. Like there have been drops that, let's say, someone goes to another chain, but then wants to release something maybe a bit more like experimental or something like that. Then, at least me, like FX Hash and Tezos in general, it felt like such a perfect like playground, right? And yeah, like many do miss the kind of the vibes of the 2021 2022 days. It was an amazing place, like a lot of creativity, and I guess when you didn't really have this kind of price associated with things that much, everyone was just kind of experimenting and pushing new things out every day, every week. But yeah, like for sure, like it's sad to kind of follow how it has in a way crumbled since then.
Yeah. So your first one on Ethereum or your first one of note was, and it was through Art Blocks too, which is super cool. Obviously,
Yeah.
they've kind of owned the generative art space on the Ethereum side, or certainly are one of the ones you'd want to partner with if you got into it. Was there an evolution for you from blind spots from some of your early stuff and Tezos? Was it fun working with Ethereum?
I'd say like yeah, the biggest thing jumping from FX Hash or like Tezos to art blocks and Ethereum was the like on art blocks you have always had this limitation of that you can use one library, and then obviously like minting things on chain on Ethereum is very expensive. Like I mean, it's not free in Ordinals either, but it's like I don't know, let's just say way more expensive on Ethereum. So
Mhm.
doing that jump from FX hash of Tezos to Ethereum meant that all right, I need to like put a lot more constraints and limitations. And obviously, like sometimes it's a good thing, right? And like I'm really proud of the work Blind Spots and like how I managed to do that in 20 kilobytes, the whole algorithm, and
Damn.
how like kind of varied and like wide kind of different outputs you can get with that like minimal code. But yeah, for sure, like that was the biggest kind of challenge, I'd say.
The whole algorithm is 20K.
Well, one obviously the one thing being that I do come from commercial background, so I do like to use libraries, and my kind of choice of library is always Three.js. So that's the thing that kind of handles a lot of the shader and 3D things. But that's like, let's say in art blocks, you can always like pick the one library that you want to use. So let's say I think Three.js, that would be maybe half megabyte, the library, and that's like already kind of on chain provided by them. And yeah, it's the same thing on Ordinals. Like someone,
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember who was he. I think OCM with dimensions. They've inscribed Three.js, and I'm just
Yeah.
using their kind of inscription.
Yeah. All right. No, this is super cool, and I'm just amazed at how I know in Ethereum you have to keep the art super small to stay on chain, and Blind Spots is 100% on chain, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Now it is, right? They changed that a few months ago, maybe, or a few
yeah.
weeks ago.
For a while, they had this thing that the code itself was on chain, like whatever I wrote was on chain. But then the libraries itself, because the kind of mentality there was that, well, this library, let's say like this specific version of Three.js, it's so widely used that you could always kind of go back and recover it somehow. Whereas obviously like the artist code, that's only like only I've kind of created that code, and like because of that, it makes sense to be on chain. But yeah, recently I think they inscribed or like put the most widely used libraries like P5 and Three.js on chain.
Okay, so
If I
because so
remember
Gerard,
correctly.
I know you're like you said a couple months ago, Art Blocks is like, hey, now we're making an effort to make everything on chain, and my first reaction, of course, was I thought everything was on chain. So
Yes.
basically, but they're taking a playbook, if I'm understanding this right, from Bitcoin and Ordinals, like where Danny put P5JS on on an ordinal, and then everybody could access it. They Art Blocks did the same thing, right? So how once that happens, you're referencing libraries outside of Ethereum. When they brought it on, did then your contracts and your code have to be updated to then reference on chain?
It's a good question.
With art blocks, honestly, like even let's say with ordinals, like with ordinals, it's a lot more easy to understand what's happening. Like there's the documentation by Rod for ordinals, it's amazing, and it's like fairly easy to follow. But with art blocks, especially, like I feel like I'm more the artist, and they have the infrastructure that I don't need to understand all the intricacies of like how on chain things work on Ethereum. So yeah,
It's
I can't
Yeah,
really like
it raises
tell
an
exactly
interesting
how it works.
question. Gerard, it raises an interesting question. Like, it sounds like Art Blocks has more of a black box, but if they put it on chain, that means they have access to Shaderism's contracts, and they would just have to repoint the code. It's not a big deal, but it shows you that the code
it's
is
very
not
processed
frozen.
there. Yeah, but the thing is, when you apply to our blogs, from what I understood and from what I checked, you need to have almost everything ready to their standards. Okay, so
Okay.
it makes things easy for them because, as Shaderism said, they have all the infrastructure ready. But our blogs actually uses the same contract for all the art blogs collection, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they probably had to change
So
one pointer.
I don't know exactly what they did, but yeah, now they say that it's 100% on chain, and I need to check exactly what they've done. Even if I'm more focused on what's happening on Ordinals, to be honest.
Yeah, and
But
honestly, it's
that's
way
the
more
thing.
like easy to follow what's happening on ordinals, right?
Yeah,
Like these,
it's more
maybe it's
easy.
not black
It's
box
more
like you
elegant.
say, but yeah,
Yeah, and my only point is that on Ordinals, like which we'll get to next with Looming Emotion, if you wanted to change something to Looming Emotion, that has already been inscribed. It's already pointing to, it sounds like 3JS, which was already on there, right? So you can't change that. Whereas on Ethereum they did, which to me, Gerard says the contracts, the top level on chain stuff is not frozen. It can be altered, just like Azuki or Yuga or whatever, and that's good now. But I would argue that if they want to make a true like permanently on chain now, all the blind spots and every other artist on there who's now officially on chain, they need to freeze all those contracts so they cannot be changed, so the art cannot be changed, if I'm understanding it correctly. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So let's go to, what's that, Gerard?
No, but that's it. And that's what people need to realize, that we are coming to Ordinals because of all those features, and what you collect is something immutable and that you 100% own, and it's built over other inscriptions. So Looming Emotion is using libraries inscribed by On-Chain Monkey, for example, and that's the beauty. You know, we are all building things on top of each other, and the ecosystem is just growing and growing.
Yeah, 100%. So before we get into Inflatables, and by the way, if you're out there, these guys have been kind enough, whoops, wrong screen. These guys have been kind enough to offer not whitelists, but actual free drops. There's only 800 in this collection. So post a comment in the comments here in the live chat, and then retweet this for a chance to win one of 3 free art drops. Like I said, this is one of 800. Shaderism has been working with Vivid for a while, and I think this is just insanely more than generous. So thank you for allowing me to give away these 3 on the show, but I can't wait to see who gets it, because to me, like, that one of the things I love about Ordinals is a 1 of 800 collection. Is like, to me, that's awesome. That's a good number. It's not too big. Like the whole 10,000 collection thing, obviously it's a smaller ecosystem right now, but 10,000 to me is just too many. Like for PFPs on ETH, that's fine. But for Bitcoin and art, like, I think 800 is an awesome number. So Snoop Toshi, good morning, SM. Shroom morning is what they say. For those who don't know what the S is. But welcome. Thanks for watching, Snoop. Retweet it, please, and you'll have a chance to win a free drop from Shaderism. So let's get right into Looming Emotion. Let's just talk about it a little. Like, this is 3JS as well, correct?
Yep.
And when I think of 3JS, I think 3D, and obviously we'll get to Inflatables, which is 3D, in every which way. Tell us about this collection.
Yeah, I think, obviously you see there that it's animated. Like on the previous page, you saw thumbnails, and that's been kind of a challenge, like for artists like myself, that a lot of the marketplaces you see only like static thumbnails,
right?
And then people don't understand, like, oh, okay, it's animated, it's maybe even interactive. Like Inflatables, I'm trying to push it to be like the most interactive and interesting thing that you can kind of do on chain. But then if you go to the previous link, you had something called breakdown. So that might be kind of the best way to understand, like you ask about what is 3D actually there. So I wanted to create this kind of website for people to understand like how it's built. And you can basically pick if there's 400 outputs of Looming Emotion, you can kind of plonk your number in there and then go drop like in kind of progress to see how it's built. And so if you click something like, let's say stuff, it animates very quickly, so you can even go through all of them.
Oh, this is so cool. So the static output is basically the final output, and animate.
Obviously, then on top of that, it animates as well. Yeah.
And then got it. So that's static output, and then here's the bottom has the anime version, and then I can look at this piece of art in every step of the way. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, I mean it's just it's just to like show how it's built rather than that these are like states of the art. It's just like for people to understand like what am I actually using, like how 3JS is used to create this, for example. Um, so yeah, like in some sense, maybe it feels like this piece is more like a two-dimensional thing compared to Inflatables really feels like a 3D thing. But if you look through these kind of step by steps, you see like how it is actually. I'm kind of building like my own little 3D software, like a Blender within a browser, and then creating um, the final piece of art with that.
Ah, this is so cool. I'm a huge fan of um, projects where like we can talk about like, oh, the inspiration was this and it, and we get on these audio spaces and we talk about like, you talk about art in audio spaces, but now we can visually see it. And the fact that you broke out like different steps and how it works, like I love this kind of stuff because to me, it just helps me understand kind of without words where you're coming from. So this is super cool that you did this, and your command of 3JS and 3D art is just so cool. And the animations, like these things are so addictive. I love them.
And yeah, with this collection of like I said about the kind of static thumbnails, and that's how like people often see that. Like then obviously like I want to kind of highlight like how it is animated as well. And me coming from this kind of web development background, I also try to make it work. And it's not only like one specific aspect ratio. It's like, or if you have a screen that is portrait mode, you can put it on portrait mode, or you can put it on your mobile and it's going to run there as well. And then also I usually try to like, obviously Inflatables, I haven't really focused on the print aspect of it, but with Looming Emotion, if you open it, you open up the, like I built this kind of GUI there that you can just control some settings, like how quickly it's animating and these kind of things. But you can also click and get like super high resolution PNG for printing. Like if you want to print it in A0 size, it's totally doable.
That's so cool. Yeah, this is
actually we use it for an exhibition that Vandalorins did in Milan, in Italy, and they had this 15K resolution exhibition that was 360 degrees, and we had to send them those files, mega files, and it looks so nice, because you can go up to the resolution that you want with generative art, and that's very few people understand this, and I think that with Looming Emotion you can clearly understand it better when you also go full screen. You're like, oh, okay, this artwork is actually bigger than what I'm seeing right now. If you go to a content, for example, you can double click and you will have this little menu. Yeah, here, for example.
Yeah, this is
you need to double click on the screen, and then you should get up the GUI basically, and nice. you can like turn on and off the full screen mode. So I've like set like this is kind of this specific aspect ratio that I've designed this one to be in, but it can fill whatever screen that you happen to have.
Oh, that's so cool. So basically this one, if you've got your mural or whatever, and you've got, portrait mode on, like this is perfect. Exactly. But this actually, because it's an algorithm, it fills to whatever screen size you want. And it's not like you're just tiling the art or doing some generic thing. You are literally, the algorithm's like, how big do you want me to be? Like, I'm in, let's do this. That's so cool. Oh man, this is awesome. So I know we have limited time today, but let's dive right in. So talk about your transition. I spoiled it a little, but talk about your transition to Inflatables. And if there's another page to kind of start with, tell me, but this is all on chain, right?
Yep, all on chain. To me, like if you jump from Looming Emotion to this, obviously it looks very different. But for me, it's not like that different as you see, like in the breakdown. what I built there. Like you can see, I have this kind of 3D software in a browser, and here I'm just using the 3D software in a different kind of way. So within the browser, I'm basically creating a character generatively. So I tell like randomly pick, okay, this guy should have this kind of hat and this kind of glasses. And then rather than it being something that is created in Blender, it is actually all created with code in the browser. And then the second bit there that like I kind of, I guess that's the starting point. Maybe it might be you might have like a better question rather than me like jumping.
No, this is awesome. So I just switched the block to 7777, and I'm just playing around with just the different settings for this. So tell me what happens. How is this integrated into the blockchain and obviously the Bitcoin blockchain right now? What endpoints are you using, and how is it affecting the models?
Actually, you can. I think you have the latest version. So if you open up the GUI again, you can kind of hover over the block data. There's a lot of text there, the block explorer. So it says there that I've kind of decided to keep the block data integration kind of simple to understand. Rather than making too convoluted. So I've decided to use 3 different data sets for this. And one, maybe the easiest to understand, is the current fee rate. And that's affecting the kind of the lighting and the mood of where the character is kind of sitting currently. And then the 2 other ones I'm using is for the animation of the character itself. So transaction size, the transaction count, and then the block size, those 2 kind of drive what's the kind of the mood of the character currently. And I wanted to kind of keep it fairly quickly reacting, so I'm using only the last or the current block, always looking for the latest block and seeing what's the data, and then taking the last 5 blocks and kind of comparing the data, like which way are the transactions and the block size going. Because I wanted it to be something that makes sense. Whatever happens on Bitcoin, right? Let's say in 10 years, there's going to be a lot more transactions. And then if I use some like specific number if the number is higher than this, then do this kind of animation, maybe the animations would not really make sense anymore. So this is more like comparing it to last 1 hour, taking the median of that, and then figuring out like what's the current block compared to those last or the previous 5 blocks, and then doing something like changing the animation and the background and the lighting based on that.
Oh, that's smart. So you're always comparing it to something else in the blockchain because you don't want it.
Exactly.
Like if the blockchain in 10 years gets so insanely busy, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen to the lighting in the background. It could completely make it go haywire.
Exactly.
So it's always compared. It's everything compared to the current 5 average of the last 5 blocks.
Yeah. So in that sense, I thought like it could be like a fun avatar that you could have on your screen and see. So it's not very like, it is accurate, but maybe you can't like do decisions like, okay, my character is doing this. Clearly something like that is happening on blockchain, but it's more like, okay, you see the character is slowing down. Okay, the block data is probably also going down currently. So then you can hop to if you see a character doing something weird, then you can hop to Mempool and be like, okay, something weird is happening. Let's actually see what the data did, right?
Do you have any, off the top of your head, any blocks that goofy stuff happened or cool, like...
Yeah, let's see.
Maybe
it's going to take a minute for me to find that.
Yeah, no worries.
Try 840,000.
840. Oh, good call. The halving. Very smart. All right, let's try it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So perfect example. So block 840K, in block 840K was the first one. That was block one of the new halvening, right?
No, no, no. Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly,
It was
exactly. Yeah,
block one.
the
Yeah, yeah.
last
So it
halving.
wasn't the last block. I'll be curious what the one right before it was, to 839,999 too. But clearly this is telling us there's a lot going on. Like he's stressed, he's grooving, shit's happening, but eventually he'll calm down. So that's 840, and then we'll go 839,999. Let's see. So that's the block before. Wow. So how cool is that? That literally showed us. So basically right before the block when we were all up like, yay, the happening and runes are going to 1 million, then we realized that it was a big scam. But like how crazy is that like there's stuff going on here. He's moving around, but he's not quite as spazzy.
And you can try, I don't know if you see the comments, but you can try 875,173.
Okay. 875,173. Whoa.
So that's an empty block. There's nothing. There's one transaction in that block, and it's an empty block basically. So nothing is happening. Lights are off. No movement.
No way. What a great one. Oh, this thing's so cool. So the 800 pieces, you have 800 of like cool, awesome, like balloony dudes, if I don't know what to call them.
You can
balloony. I mean, we can say that like Jeff Koons is definitely like one part of the inspiration behind this. Like the Jeff Koons kind of balloon animals, and this is like one of the inspirations behind it. And then obviously I decided to go kind of like different direction with the characters, but definitely Balloony is one of the inspirations.
Okay, so each time I refresh, I'm going to get just a random different one right now.
Yeah,
this is so
but
cool.
With the same.
And obviously now I'm storing the if you want to kind of send to your friend, for example, that okay, I was looking at this character, it's saving in the URL the current block that you've been looking at. So that's why you had to go to the GUI and kind of clear the data from there.
Yeah, I just cleared it, but it will, if you send it to the person, they'll get the same block, but they're not going to get the same guy, are they?
Well, that's the thing. Like this is just kind of preview deploy for like what I've been sharing the Vivid guys and for you, for example, now. But then obviously when it's like the inscribed versions, it's the specific character. There's going to be 800 characters, and all of them are like very kind of unique looking.
Yeah, these things are awesome. Is there rarity in any? Oh, this guy's out with the sword. Is there rarity to any of these, or no? They're all 101s. They're all cool and unique in their own way.
I mean, there's some like cool kind of things that like obviously like let's say you have a sword as a prop for this guy, so then like I've set kind of the rarity for each kind of props. Let's say like the halo, that's not going to happen like maybe as often as the guy with the sword, but then like there's a bit more special characters like fully golden ones, for example, and like fully obsidian kind of like black looking balloon characters. So yeah, definitely like there's some that are more kind of rare than the others.
Yeah, the Halo guy was super
like
cool.
Yeah, now you got like a
and that's the thing. So in this collection, we are going to airdrop 400 pieces to the Looming Emotion collectors. So it's like a guaranteed mint, and they also have two times more chances to get one of the golden ones, which are the rarest in the collection. So yeah, there is a rarity even if each piece is unique, and I think it's going to be super cool because people will be able to play a little bit and kind of personalize their PFP. It's not like, oh yeah, I only have this one option to download my PFP and to put it on X or wherever. You can play with the camera a little bit, you can play with the blocks, and then save your PFP your favorite PFP, basically.
Yeah, it's cool. And I did
Let's
notice.
say I'm thinking on. I'm thinking on, let's say, like Moonbird on Ethereum, that you have the pixelated version, and then they also minted the or put on chain the high definition version. So then, like whoever owns that Moonbird, they would have two kind of PFPs. But here, obviously, like that's been one of the things that I wanted to kind of push the medium of PFPs forward with this, to have something which is like fully browser generated and interactive and animated character, but that you can also have thousands of different BFPs. Basically, you can have like a more close-up version and different lightings, and also even capture animated BFP.
Yeah, this is cool. So for those, and let me click on it while. Oh God, I love Blockade 40.
That's like crazy.
That guy, well, that's the Blockade 40K, but it's cool because you can go full body and then you can go portrait mode. So that's neat. So you thought of, like, obviously it's art, it's 3JS art, it's totally 3D, and it's totally on chain. But you recognize it both as art, and you've got this kind of zoom in feature, so someone can get a shot for a PFP, which is super cool. Like I could see why people would completely use this as a PFP. And I gotta say, I'm sure you as well, just grabbing my mouse, like I've been doing this the whole time you're talking. I'm like, it's like a fidget toy.
It's so fun, right?
Yeah, it's so, like, the physics are so good in it. Did you have to do a lot of that physics, or does a lot of that come with 3JS?
It doesn't really come with 3JS, but like it is fairly easy, this kind of physics. It's called wiggly bones. So basically, when I've kind of rigged the character so that it's like a marionette or whatever you call this kind of puppets that you can control, actually I need to just animate one point basically at the kind of the base of the character, and then everything else that is like wiggling along, it's all physics based. So yeah, it's a fairly simple algorithm that does all the rest of the movement. Other than like, you take the block data and then you animate that one point in the character, and everything else kind of follows along.
Right.
Well, that's
on the GUI. I want on the GUI, I want to highlight another bit. Like obviously, we mentioned that you can have a static PFPs and you can have animated PFPs, and then also I wanted to add. I've been really getting into 3D printing recently, so I wanted to add there also 3D export. So then you can, get a 3D model that you can basically do whatever with. You can put it in a Blender and render your own kind of thing, or you can, I don't know if the green screen is going to pick that, but you can do a 3D print of your avatar, for example.
Yeah, this is so cool. So go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, we're gonna see it in Paris. It's gonna be on our booth. This giant printed inflatable. I love it, man. I saw the texture. It's also super cool that it's not this typical resin from plastic from the 3D printers, but it's actually resin.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't touched it yet. But yeah, it's way more. It has more details, and it doesn't cost that much. Actually, a lot of people could do that.
Oh no.
My kids would love this. Like, this would be fun. We've done a lot of 3D printing over the years. I've got a little printer downstairs. The hardest thing is setting up your supports and stuff. Like, that's always the biggest pain in the ass. Like, you get the supports and then you can't get the thing out. You're like, all right, I got to do less supports. But no, these would be perfect. And you're right. The plastic is, it's kind of Lego-y. It's like that corn plastic stuff, but it sounds like a resin could kind of honor the more smooth kind of like balloony vibes.
But I think you haven't seen it. R2 just showed it on the camera, but I don't think you noticed the printing that he did.
Oh, there we go.
Look at
that. It's the green screen is picking it up, but can you see that?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool. Hold on, let me
Oh my God.
That is
a lot of people are trying
smooth.
to steal that in part.
That is so smooth. Here, we'll just hold it like that for a second so it doesn't. blur you out. Oh my god, that's incredible.
Mm.
Damn. Very cool. Yeah, so that's about as smooth as you can get. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, this is so cool. So what made you decide to give away all of these? Obviously, your existing collectors are getting the 400 are getting a free airdrop. But what made you decide just to do the whole thing for free this time?
Yeah, I guess it was both, like we've talked about, blind spots from Art Blocks released like a year and something ago, and then Vivid, Looming Emotion collection. They have been obviously released, or there's been really supportive collectors that have made it possible for me to like focus on exploring these kind of fun things and pushing the medium further. And I did already kind of like airdrop collection to my Ethereum collectors, and this is what the Inflatables kind of started as something that I wanted to, at the same time, kind of push the medium of BFPs on chain forward. And because it's not a serious art collection, it's more like a fun thing. I
Yeah.
felt like, well, it's like a perfect combination to do like a fun collection and then do a kind of thank you airdrop for Looming Emotion collectors. But then the more I kind of spent time on it and kind of felt like, oh, wait, like pushing the BFB medium further and further on multiple different grounds, I felt like the Ordinals community would like really love the whole thing. So rather than kind of gatekeeping it and putting it like only on the Vivid collector's hand, I felt like it's like there'd be so many people on Ordinals that would love this that I wanted to kind of give an opportunity for others to kind of get their hands on it as well.
And I assume as I keep clicking, oh, this guy's awesome. I love the horn. As I keep clicking, so the 800, did you pick I know this is an algorithm, so you could have infinite. Did you pick kind of your favorite 800 there? How did you come up with those?
Yeah, it's a very good question because yeah, you could like obviously go hand picking perfectly, like, oh, I love this one. But what I ended up doing, obviously, the 800 are kind of picked in a way, but I wrote kind of a script that gives me a graph of the rarities and like, all right, let's say there's 20% of these characters have a gun, and let's say 15% of them have the bow tie. So then I ran a script a couple of times and found the 800 where the balance felt kind of, oh, okay, like I like the balance, how the rarities are kind of spread out here. And then when I had those 800, I created images out of them, animations out of them, and just looked at like, okay, it makes sense. And then that's the final 800.
That's so cool. So I know in generative art you don't like cherry picking. Like that's not necessarily the best purest way. I like that you kind of altered that slightly. This is so cool. It's so hard. Like when you're talking, I'm just like, hey, like play with them. And then I started having them like be a part of the show and looking up and watching you. And then when Gerard talks, we'll kind of be like, oh God, what's he saying down here?
But that's what's amazing about this collection. Seriously, there is a lot of PFP collections, or on Ethereum or on Ordinals too. But this is for me something really new, and that could only exist on Ordinals, and that's why it's special to me. And I hope that people also will feel that way. Because it's connected to Bitcoin. That's one thing, but it also fully on chain, and Ordinals allow us to do this for a very cheap inscription amount, and that's also a reason why we can allow ourselves to do it for free. Because this on Ethereum would have costed a lot more, right, Arthur? Well, first of
Yeah,
all,
like
we don't have to
I
connect,
say,
but,
if you look on the browser how much data it downloads, I think it's about 2 megabytes, maybe even less, maybe like 1.5 megabytes that it downloads every time you kind of open this. But obviously, like I said, that 3JS is my go-to for the
yeah.
kind of 3D program that I'm using in the browser.
Right.
So most of that data is libraries that the community has inscribed, right? Obviously, like OCM did the 3JS, then there's some other thing, like I'm actually, I don't know if you're familiar with web development, but I'm using React in this one as well.
Okay.
And then for looming emotion, we inscribed a library to capture MP4s on the browser. So again, here, like we were able to reuse that library. So when you open up the GUI, you can click the capture MP4, and then it's gonna do that fully on chain, right? So at the end of the day, we were not left. We were left with. I mean, this one, there's so much like different things that are kind of built into it. It is a bit more heavy than looming emotion, but I think the final one for this one maybe was like 50 kilobytes.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So
the
each
size that
one's
we had to
50, or
inscribe.
the algorithm's
No,
50, or
maybe
each
The
one?
whole collection, the algorithm, the whole thing is 50
K?
kilobytes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So really what Danny did with 3JS, PP5JS, and all these other libraries, you add this MP4 library. The beauty of it is you can upload these libraries once if they're new. Otherwise, just refer to the old one.
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
what makes the building blocks of Bitcoin. It's just so apropos and fitting for Bitcoin that art is just, it just tells me that art is just going to keep evolving on this chain forever as new technologies come up. Are most of the, obviously we're seeing more and more 3D collections now. You're certainly early to the game. Are most of these on chain, or are some of them like referencing things that are off chain? I guess what reason would you have to reference off chain? Gerard?
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, I guess that we're gonna start seeing a lot of people doing off-chain references. Maybe a lack of knowledge, lack of technical knowledge, but also, if you don't want to take the time to do all the inscriptions well, you can do that. But I don't think that that's the point of Ordinals. To me, the point of Ordinals is to really have everything on chain and to guarantee the collector that, okay, you are collecting on Bitcoin, then you know that what you have is really yours, it's really on chain, and it would last forever. That's for me the message that we have to continue sharing. And this collection shares perfectly. First, okay, you can do more with PFPs. That's something completely new, because I think that people are tired to see again and again the same type of PFPs. But also, this is fully on chain, and this is almost inscribed for free. So Bitcoin is the perfect medium for to just experiment with new things. And most of the libraries are already been inscribed, so now you can use it and do your own 3JS PFP collection if you want. And that's the message that we want to share with this collection. That's why we are doing it for free, and we just started communicating on it. But yeah, in the next weeks we're gonna push that message, and we hope that the Ordinals community is going to resonate with it.
Oh, I think they will for sure. So the drop will be in a couple weeks. So it's going to be on Magic Eden.
Yeah. It's going to be a Magic Eden, of course. So all the airdrops are going to be done on the mint day. But we are gonna start the collabs. Actually, of course, if you have a community and you want to collab with us, so we can give you some whitelist spots, just contact us. But we're gonna start the collabs, and we are not going to over allocate it a lot. We don't want it to be botted or whatever. We want to select good communities and to give a few spots, because it's free, and most of the collection is already going to be airdropped. But there are going to be like 300 pieces left on Magic Eden, and then you can. We haven't talked about this actually, Shaderism, but so you can also try to find your soulmate and to unlock a new trait. So each piece is connected to 7 other pieces. So you have this group of 8 pieces that are connected. And if you manage to get at least 2, your inflatables would automatically get the laser eyes. So that's pretty cool, because it's also fully on chain. So if you just get 2 in the same wallet, it will activate automatically without you having to do anything.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah. So 2 of the same set, are they exact matches, or no? They're which part matches?
No. But you will have the information on metadata.
Exactly. Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, we can already now say that it's fairly easy to remember. Like it's gonna be like number 1 is linked to number 101 and so on. So
Okay,
then you
cool.
can
So
find the soulmates.
it'll be very easy to find the one, hopefully, that you can pair up to get the laser eyes.
Exactly.
Is there pairing of
Invite-
3s and 4s, or no? There's pairing of 2s.
No, it's pairing of 8. I think we looked to. Yeah.
What if I have 4? Will it do cooler and cooler stuff?
Well, I guess you need to find out. Right?
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, new collection by Shaderism, Inflatables. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Have a great time on Stephen Morse's show. It's one of my favorite shows. It's one of the only ones I'll listen to because it's all signal, no noise. But have fun there, guys. Expect there's going to be a free airdrop. So find out about collabs. Reach out to Vivid. But this one looks super, super cool. So with that, Shaderism, thank you for coming on. Gerard, as always, thank you, and have fun in Paris.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. That was
All
awesome.
right, guys. Take it easy.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.